So now that we know how to do a simple tween, we can take that information and make something that looks a little bit more interesting than just a circle moving on the screen. So let's start a new file, and still ActionScript 3. And this time, instead of moving a circle, well, let's create something a little more interesting like a rocket. So we're going to insert a new symbol here, and we'll call this our rocket. And still leaving it on graphic. I'm going to take a little bit of time here and try to do a fairly good job of making a rocket here. So I'm going to create a circle for the nose of the rocket. And I'm going to draw a line through here in another color so that it kind of cuts that thing in half, which will allow me to select the bottom half of that and delete it. And I can get rid of this over here. So I'm just clicking on the areas of that shape that I don't want anymore. So that's giving me the nose of the rocket. And I'll grab the rectangle tool and maybe change my color here a little bit. And add the body of the rocket in there. Okay, and let's put some fins on there. How can we do this? We'll use the line tool. So I'm going to click and hold. Oops. I didn't pick up the line tool. There we go. Click and hold. And create a triangle. So that looks like a little fin that's coming off the rocket. And we'll fill that in with maybe a darker gray. Grab my bucket. Now it's not quite filling in here because I probably don't have it closed at the bottom here. So yeah, and you can see the little gap there. So with my bucket tool selected, I'm going to take a look at the properties, and we've got this option to close gaps for us. So I'm just going to do that. And now it's ignoring that little gap that I've got there. And we'll just grab our brush over top of that line so it kind of finishes off the fin. And now we can zoom back out again. Oops, we have this set from before, so we'll go back and paint normal. And just getting rid of that line. Alright, so zoom back out. And maybe add another fin to the side. So grabbing my line tool again. And we'll fill that in. Our darker gray. And maybe one more fin kind of off to the side over here. And again, filling that in. It doesn't look like a very good rocket. And maybe we'll just write Canada or can up the side here. So we'll change our color to red. And put some letters on the side of our rocket. Okay, so there we've got something that looks at least reasonable. You can take a little bit more time when you're creating yours. So we'll go back out to scene 1. And again, there's nothing on the stage yet because we were just working on the rocket in our symbol. So I'm going to take that rocket from the library and put it on the stage. Okay, now we need the rocket. We want the rocket to sort of go up and then come back down again. So we need it to go from here to over here. So we'll start like like we did with the circle, and just give this its beginning point and this its end point. But then we'll change the shape of the motion so that it's doing that arc. All right, so we'll give it some time on the timeline here. 80 frames. We're using F5 to fill that in. And we'll tween that, so right-click, create motion tween, and that changes the color from the gray to the blue. And we'll move our playhead to the last frame, and we want that location, and I'm choosing the black arrow here, we want that location to be over here. Okay, so now it's going from there to there, but that's kind of a boring motion, so we want to take, and making sure that we've got the black arrow again, we want to take the shape of this motion and do something like that. Maybe just get that coming over here a little bit. So now we're getting closer now. Now it's doing this, but that's not how a rocket would move. The nose of the rocket should follow its path. So how can we get that going? Well, that's a property of this particular object. So I don't have my properties up right now. That's going to be my window menu, and we're choosing properties here. And now we've got our property window coming up here. So with our motion selected here, what we're going to do is check off this little box that says orient to path. And then we'll get our transform tool, just get the nose of our rocket following exactly onto the path. So now when we do this, well, it's a little closer. I probably didn't turn it right there. Let's get it up a little bit more. Let's see if that's better. There, that's falling. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so let's render that to see what the actual motion is without the line in the way. Beautiful. Okay, see if you can get your rocket doing that, and then come back and follow the next lesson to add some fire in at the bottom of the rocket.